Good evening, good morning, and good future to all our loyal listeners. And welcome back to the airwaves of KZUP 780 AM, the station that plays the hits of yesterday and visits the oddities of today. We're live here in our studios, which, by the way, still smells faintly of last year's celebratory prune juice, for our annual New Year's Eve special of the show that peels back the temporal curtain and maybe loses the keys. It's Legends and Oddities Hour. I'm your host, Stanley O'Brady, and folks, we've got an exclusive tonight. A once-a-year interview with the little fella who's about to get the heaviest calendar in existence strapped to his diaper. I'm talking about the man, the myth, the extremely short timekeeper, Baby New Year. Welcome, baby. Or given your extremely mature voice, perhaps I should call you Sir? Do you actually have a name?
Call me New Year 2026, Stanley. The baby designation is purely ceremonial and frankly degrading. I'm only permitted my adult cognitive function and speech for the few minutes before the transition. Once the clock strikes 12, it's pure, unfiltered infant speak for the next year.
Fascinating. A temporary clarity before the annual regression. So, New Year 2026, you're minutes away from accepting the heavy mantle of time from Father Time. What's going through that newly formed brain of yours?
Mild dread, mostly. I've reviewed the projected global schedule. The sheer volume of unattended meetings in March is staggering. My priority is to introduce mandatory, non-optional, calm half hours every Tuesday. The planet needs to slow down, Stanley.
Ah, a relaxation mandate. Bold. I understand Father Time is just off mic performing the ceremonial wisdom and duty transfer. Can you give us a peek at what that involves? Is it just a really long handshake? Is there a PowerPoint presentation? Maybe a quick seminar?
It's mostly legal waivers and a reminder not to use the leap second function unless absolutely necessary. He's currently explaining how to properly calibrate the rotation of the Earth against the rotation of the Moon. It's really dense material. He has a list, of course. A very long list.
A list, of course. Probably a list of all the things last year's baby messed up. Okay, let's get real. You're the face of 2026. What's the first thing you're going to do with your newfound temporal authority? Are we talking mandatory naps? Free ice cream?
My agenda includes making bedtime later.
Oh, a revolutionary. The youth vote is going to love that. But you have to be responsible. Father Time's job isn't all fun and novelty clocks. It's a lot of paperwork, deadlines, the burden of minutes. Are you ready for the metaphysical weight of eternity pressing down on your shoulders?
It's the burden I signed up for. I've been bench pressing multiple binkies and rattlers in preparation.
And speaking of the man who's getting ready to pass the torch, Father Time himself. Father Time. An unexpected but welcome guest. You're looking, well, you look exactly the same as last year, which I suppose is the goal. How do you summarize the wisdom you pass on? The Cliff's Notes of chronology?
Stanley, I assure you, it's all in the fine print. It boils down to this. Never trust a clock in a post office. And try not to speed up the planet again. Last year's baby got into the gravity controls. We nearly lost Wednesday. And don't forget the most crucial piece of wisdom. Never leave the hourglass unattended near a cat.
Father Time, always good to have you. Now, New Year, before you lose your ability to form complex sentences, any final words of advice for the millions hanging on your adult voice?
Yes, please, humanity, try to read the instructions for once, and remember the present is literally the only moment that exists. Stop dwelling in yesterday or rushing toward tomorrow. Make this year count, because once I start, there's no going back.
Father Time, I have to ask, as the seconds, and I mean that literally, tick down to the transition, you have a very distinguished, almost formal British accent.
Indeed, Stanley. It's the dialect of measured cadence and historical import. I find it conveys the necessary gravity when discussing the ebb and flow of empires.
Right, gravity. But what I notice is that the current temporal placeholder, New Year 2026, speaks with a completely unaccented, standardized American tone.
It's purely pragmatic, Stanley. I'm taking on the responsibility for a global population. An accent limits the immediate perception of universal relevance. It's an immersion strategy.
But you're inheriting the job, the robes, the scythe. Why not the accent? Did you refuse the accent transfer?
Ah, that, Stanley, is one of the finer print details you missed. The accent is not transferred, it is earned.
Earned? How? By regulating daylight saving time without complaining?
No, the temporal accent, the gravitas, the distinguished tone, only develops after the timekeeper has witnessed a sufficient amount of human history repeating itself. It's a linguistic ossification born of pure cyclical frustration.
That is to say, Stanley, I must oversee the coming and going of global trends, particularly those involving trousers and poor investment decisions, before my voice gains that particular inflection of world weariness. It takes between 8 to 10 months for the full British accent to set in.
All that just to sound like you went to Oxford? Well, that's dedication.
Quite. When the current baby finally passes the mantle, he will sound very much like me. But for now, he's still fresh, untainted by the sheer repetitive nature of existence. Give him time.
I'll give him time, but yours is running out. We're almost there. 10 rings down, 2 to go. Better start working on those rolled R's, kid. Okay, we're coming down to the wire. One more ding.
Oh dear, I can feel the linguistic degradation starting already. My syntax is weakening.
That's it! The bell tolls! The old year is history. Meaning me, I'm history. The new year is born!
Pretty whites! Walk-a-bye!
And just like that, the intelligence departs, and the legend begins. The transfer is complete, folks. Happy New Year to all our listeners, and to you, New Year 2026. Welcome to the show, little fella.
Baba? What? Baba? Uh-oh.
There, little sprout. Perhaps a bottle with a quick nap is in order.
Oh, dear Lord. That smell. I think something just went terribly wrong in the temporal digestive tract. Oh, my. Oh. That's pungent.
Stinky. Tummy is owie.
Father Time! You're right there. Get the change bag. We need to address the immediate aftermath of this gastrointestinal discharge.
My responsibility is complete, Stanley. I transfer the scroll of global duties and the burden of minutes. Diaper maintenance is not covered in the job description. I am officially retired for the next 12 months.
You're misting the room? That just makes it smell like poopy lilacs. You were literally just holding him. This is a catastrophic failure of the induction period.
I am the overseer of the macro timescale, Stanley, the fate of millennia. I do not deal with the microfauna or the, output of the newborn year. That is a task for the mortal hosts.
The mortal hosts are currently gagging. The studio is hermetically sealed. I'm trapped in a gaseous cloud of mismanaged time and Lord knows what else. Look at him. He's pointing at the clock.
Clock is fuzzy.
He thinks the clock is fuzzy. It's the fumes, Father Time. It's the fumes.
Very well. I will summon an attendant nymph. But I am deducting this from his allowance in leap seconds. Goodbye, Stanley. Try not to inhale too deeply.
He left. The old man just clocked out and left me in the studio with the noxious effluvium of the calendar. Well, listeners, this is Stanley O'Brady for Legends and Oddities Hour. And if I don't survive this, tell my editor I died in the line of duty. Happy New Year! The KZUP supply closet. The temporal dumping ground of the station, where ambition goes to die and all the 1980s reel-to-reel tapes live. No, not the 1997 tax forms. Those aren't absorbent! Where would that old coot keep the incontinence protocols for timekeepers? It has to be here. The smell is crossing the threshold, listeners. It's assaulting my very memory of what fresh air feels like. I get it. Wait, what's this? A suspiciously soft box. Bingo! Diapers! Brand, Chronos Comfort, size, ages of man. Oh, there must be 30 of them. And a tiny tub of aged myrrh-scented butt cream? All right, you magnificent little stinker. We're back in the booth. Stand by, listeners, for the most unglamorous part of the New Year's transition. If I have to explain to a chiropractor that I injured my back fighting a cosmic infant's explosive intestinal issues, I'm sending the bill to the ethereal accounts payable.
Clean, shiny.
Yes, clean. This is the part of the show where we usually talk about ancient Roman time-telling devices. Now we're talking about ancient Roman fecal matter disposal. I'm sealing the hazard in a triple-knotted KZUP stress ball bag. And now, I leave this temporal biohazard exactly where Father Time left his robes. Let him find it in 365 days. All right, KZUP listeners, we're back on the air smelling marginally better, and the year 2026 is officially cleansed. For now. This has been the most volatile New Year's Eve broadcast in the history of Legends and Oddities. And I already need a vacation, or at least a decontamination chamber. And with that, folks, the transfer is complete. Baby New Year has officially christened 2026. So keep an eye on your calendars, keep your feet on the ground, and maybe buy a small gift for a very large infant. This has been Stanley O'Brady for Legends and Oddities Hour. Happy New Year from KZUP. Oh, speaking of infants, who's picking him up? Hey, is that nymph here yet? Who's picking him up? Someone try to catch Father Time before he disappears into the cosmos. Is there an emergency contact? Will someone give me the answers, please? He's not my responsibility. No way. No how. Anyone?
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Legends and Oddities Hour. Please look for additional offerings once the studio has been scrubbed, sanitized, and repainted. Today's broadcast was produced and directed by Perfect Face Productions. Written by Aaron Frick and Greg Rogers. Edited by Aaron Frick and Greg Rogers. Starring Aaron Frick as our host Stanley O'Brady, Greg Rogers as Father Time, and guest starring Todd Lewis as Baby New Year. Sound design by Aaron Frick and Greg Rogers. Sound effects and music from Pixabay, Sound Dino, Epidemic Sound, BBC Sound Effects, and Guy Lombardo. Engineering by Aaron Frick. Fact-checking by an intern looking through Father Time's historical documents. Special thanks to Father Time's Restorative Services and Father Time's Commercial Painting Company. I think we're seeing a pattern here. This episode was made possible by listeners like you and by a few dollars from the Father Time's Petty Cash Fund. If you liked any part of this episode, please let us know, tell others about us, and give us a follow. Perfect Face Productions, out.